under 10.5 on the line.
You have to be the biggest, dumbest idiot.
Josh Allen inside the 10, inside 5, touchdown, game over.
Going into the draft, I was a big Penix guy. I'm still a big Penix guy.
Rashee Rice is way ahead of schedule in his ACL rehab, which is good news for his fantasy managers because the Dallas court system is way behind schedule. That's also good news for local comedian Miles Francis.
Oh, hello and welcome to What Are We Talking About with Jamie Jakes. I am him. I am sitting next to virtually Ryan Perrio, our Vegas insider for today.
Actually, Williams, Arizona. I'm going out to see the Grand Canyon tomorrow.
Okay, so world traveler, explorer, I would say Ryan Perrio. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Just in between gigs. Thought I would do a little vacation time and just kind of see the sights between Albuquerque and Tucson.
Hell yeah. I hope it's going well for you. Are you excited for football season?
I'm beyond excited for football season. I am, I don't know if there's any more of a tease than the week before reporting to camp, because every station's they're reporting next week. It's
calm before the storm. Not a lot of
yeah.
news unless you're running back from Cleveland. Other than that, you're not going to hear much from anybody this week. But yeah, we've got a fun game that Ryan Perrio and I are going to play, I guess, against each other. Well, maybe with each other. We're going to play this or that. So we are going to take two players of the same position who are being drafted near each other. Now, they vary from platform to platform, but these guys are all getting drafted roughly in the same round across ESPN, Sleeper, Underdog for best ball purposes. For the sake of our discussion today, we are going to focus on half PPR redraft, okay? It's not really going to come into play too much with a lot of our conversations. It's just that some players maybe are a little bit better in best ball or maybe a little bit better in dynasty than the players we're comparing them to. Sound good, Ryan Perrio?
Sounds good. Let's get on it.
All right, let's get on it with our first matchup. Dun, dun. We're going to play this or that. All right, that's our soundbite. And our first matchup today is Calvin Ridley, Tennessee Titans, versus rookie Travis Hunter. I guess I will lead the way on this one. Maybe we'll play back and forth seas. When I'm thinking about this or that with Calvin Ridley and Travis Hunter, I'm going to go, when I'm picking in my home league, I'm taking Calvin Ridley 10 times out of 10. And here's why. Number one, clear number one wide receiver on the team. Best case scenario for Travis Hunter. Even Travis Hunter stands will admit best case scenario for Travis Hunter. He is a wide receiver 2 on the team. Okay. Travis Hunter or Calvin Ridley was 28 overall as a wide receiver with horrible quarterback play last season. So he's going 32 right now, so he's safe, but he has a massive upside if the first overall drafted rookie, Cam Ward, who's not getting talked about at all. Nobody cares about this first overall drafted rookie. Not even Boston's even. He's pissed about it too. So he's safe, but he's got a massive upside, does Calvin Ridley. He's finished as a wide receiver 4. I get it. That was before a lot of things happened in his career, but he's finished as wide receiver 4. That's not his ceiling. He's not going to finish wide receiver 4 this season, but he could finish top 20, top 15 wide receiver for this Tennessee Titans if everything goes well. And worse, and I think his floor is pretty close to where you're drafting him at 32. Travis Hunter, on the other hand, has a ton of question marks, including what's his usage going to be? How's it going to look? If he does magically become a full-time wide receiver, is he still playing full-time quarterback, which will make him susceptible to injuries or make him tired like it probably did in college, which would explain his kind of lackluster performances in certain instances. On film, I think this is a big hive mind thing with just the fantasy football community and like the AP, the journalism community, where they just anointed 3 years ago Travis Hunter best player in college football. And if you say any otherwise, you're just a dumb idiot. You don't know football. You and I, we watch these guys. We hear that stuff, but then we come in with open eyes, open minds, open ears. and we kind of try to figure out what's going on with these players. And I had him about like the 5th or 6th best wide receiver and the 5th or 6th best corner in the class. Not even in college football, in the class, as that's where I had him ranked. So if he does get a full-time load on offense, will he be able to take advantage of that load and come through with this marvelous fantasy football performance with a question mark situationally as well? With quarterback, we don't know if Trevor Lawrence is who we thought he was. We don't know how that team is going to run offensively this year. A lot of question marks, new coaching staff, who knows what's going on. So there's just like a bunch of stuff. You could just draft Travis Hunter and they could have him as a gadget receiver on the field 25% of the time and 100% of the time on defense, and you're SOL. And he was signed as a defensive back officially when he did sign with the team. So that's why I'm taking Calvin Ridley. Ryan Perry, what's your take on it?
I'm also taking Calvin Ridley. Apart from what you just said, like the rookie wide receiver, is always can be kind of a Madden curse. Like you see last year with Marvin Harrison Jr. You thought there's no way he's not going to absolutely destroy on an Arizona team with no number one receiver. He was going to slide right in there and just be Larry Fitzgerald 2.0, and it just never materialized. I think people will draft Travis Hunter high and just be frustrated with the lack of production. I just think, for all the reasons you said, physically he's not a side speed. He's going to be at best a Tank Dell type player where he can kind of get open underneath and use his speed and quickness. But some of the film we saw of him running routes doesn't have like the elite foot quickness that you would see out of a Tank Dell. Like, he just had average quickness. He just has elite speed, and it's going to be really hard in the NFL when everybody else has close to elite speed to kind of like get that separation to where he can actually make an impact. Quarterback, same thing. Like I like the fact that Cam Ward's not getting a lot of press. That to me seems like it's a great job by Tennessee to kind of keep him, focused on the task at hand, head buried in the playbook. Hopefully that turns around. Calvin Ridley is one of the better wide receivers in the league when he's on. Like, he is absolutely, even when he's covered, he's still open. He's one of those kind of receivers that he's kind of like a little bit of a slower Amari Cooper, where he is just, if you put it anywhere in his vicinity, he's coming down with it. And I think that Cam Ward is going to go to him, maybe not early, but he will end up going to him often, a la Cortland Sutton out of Denver,
who we're going to talk about later today. I agree with basically everything you said, Ryan Perrio. So we're just going to go ahead and move right on to our next matchup. This or that. Darnell Mooney or Josh Downs from the Indianapolis Colts. I went first last time, Ryan Perrio. Are you comfortable taking the lead on this one?
Absolutely.
Take it away. Josh Downs, Darnell Mooney.
I'm going to go Josh Downs. I believe that that Daniel Jones is going to win this quarterbacking competition. I think we've already have injury on Anthony Richardson in practice, and like the lead up to camp, he's already having to go see a shoulder specialist again, and looks like he's doubtful for week 1, let alone the competition that was supposed to happen this preseason. But Daniel Jones had a similar target with Wan'Dale Robinson, who he utilized early and often. I think Josh Downs is going to be really utilized, whereas with Michael Penix, I really think it's going to be Drake London's year in Atlanta. I think those two are just going to connect. I think when you're a rookie quarterback, you're going to go to the more physical, larger, bigger target, just from jump. And I think that's going to help him and Drake London really get on a page. And I think Darnell Mooney is going to get kind of relegated to a lesser number 2 role, because I think his production really did drop off once Penix took the helm from Kirk. If I'm not mistaken, Kirk Cochains loved Darnell Mooney and absolutely hammered him nonstop. But I think once Michael Penix came in, his stats dropped way down.
I think you're right. That was a 3-game sample size, and Drake London did take over. Those were 3 pretty bad teams defensively, especially in passing. EPA per pass defended, they were all bottom in the league. I think it was Jacksonville, and then they played. Who were the best ones they played? It was the Commanders, and they played some other terrible team. So
the Saints.
Yeah, probably. It was a terrible, bad defenses that they were playing against. I think Darnell Mooney is the way to go when we're talking about Josh Downs and Darnell Mooney. And this isn't even really a shot at Josh Downs, just the cost that I'm getting him at and just the worry that I have in the Indianapolis Colts. I will admit, I think Daniel Jones obviously is a big thumbs up for Josh Downs. Josh Downs is definitely a better football player than Wandale was, but the dark horse wide receiver one, who was wide receiver one last season, he's still there. He's Alec Pierce, and he's a bigger guy. He's like 215 pounds. Josh Downs is a smaller dude, 185, and I think Alec Pierce is going to keep him off the field again this year in 2 wide receiver sets. So I'm really concerned from a touchdown standpoint, from a competition standpoint, and just a situational, global, the Colts being a total train wreck point of view. And I'm a Penix believer. I'm a big Penix guy. Penix doesn't run like Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones does. He stays right in the pocket. I think he had like 13 yards rushing in those 3 games that we were just talking about total as a quarterback.
But the thing is he can do it though. If he needs to, he can. He doesn't have like elite speed, but I think he's like 4 or 5 speed as a quarterback, which is fast enough.
That's news to me. If he actually ran the 4 or 5, I don't think he ran a 40 in the combine.
I don't think he did run a 40, but I believe he's not slow. He's not slow by any means, but I think he's in the 4 or 5 range as far as because he could run. Like when he was younger in Indiana, he did run more.
You're right.
But I think
4.46 at his pro day. So, give or take 3/10, but I mean, he claims to be pretty fast. I don't see it on the field, honestly.
Yeah, but it's like, that's to his credit. He stands in the pocket, which is what really you want a young quarterback to do versus what Caleb Williams did last year, which was kind of go backwards and then get sacked.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll talk more about Caleb Williams here in a second. To finish my thoughts on Darnell Mooney, Josh Downs had only 803 yards receiving last year. Darnell Mooney on 8 fewer receptions, had 992 receiving yards last year. So he's a big boom candidate. They both had 5 touchdowns. I get it. Josh Downs is more efficient. He ran fewer routes. He was injured, but he's a 185-pound receiver, and just like Travis Hunter. And that's why I'm just going to go ahead and grab Darnell Mooney here.
Who had more receptions? Just out of curiosity, since we're doing the PPR.
Downs had 8 more receptions.
Okay.
So half PPR. Darnell still comes out on top. And I'm a big Penix guy. I'm a big Penix believer. So one disagreement there. Oh, Darnell Mooney, by the way, 27 years old. Still could have a big breakout year. Anyways, moving on. So just like we were talking about, like we were setting up earlier, DJ Moore versus Xavier Worthy. This or that. I'll lead the way on this one, and it's a pretty easy, a heartbreaking decision for me to make because I was such an Xavier Worthy truther. But I think DJ Moore is the pick to make here. I think coming out of camp, Worthy probably would have been the wide receiver 3 on the team for the whole season. He would have been the one deep threat guy. He probably would have been on the field 33% of the time. Hollywood Brown goes down first play basically of preseason with like a crazy SC separation, I think, if I remember correctly. And he was out for basically the whole season. He came back, Hollywood did, in the playoffs, and he was great. He was great for them. And Rashee Rice, he is the number one. He was the bona fide number one. He got injured early last year, so I expect him to be 100%. It wasn't even like a cruciate ligament injury. I think it was a patella, like a plica injury on his patella tendon got like torn, which happens on occasion. It's a lot easier recovery than an ACL or PCL, in my professional opinion. And DJ Moore, I think he's just simply the best wide receiver on that team. I get it. People are like, well, they brought in those wide receivers to replace DJ Moore. I think they brought those wide receivers to replace Rome Odunze. I think the new head coach over there had a good look at Rome Odunze, or at least Aaron Glenn on the other side of the football had a good look at Rome Odunze. And I think I looked it up. I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't think Rome had very good games against the Detroit Lions, one of those games being severely depleted late in the season defensively for Detroit. They shut his ass down. It was DJ Moore, and it was nothing else, basically, for the Bears. The big critique to DJ Moore, what everyone says when you talk about DJ, is like terrible ADOT, terrible average depth of target, because it was true. They were dumping it down to him, lots of screens, lots of designed plays for DJ Moore. But if you have a struggling rookie quarterback and a really bad offensive line, what are you going to do? You're going to throw screens to your best player. And that's what they did. And I think that's what Benny over there is going to find out, that DJ Moore is still that dude. He's not that old. And he's the clear number one wide receiver on the team. Who knows which team throws for more touchdowns, throws for more yards total. But give me the wide receiver 1 over the wide receiver 2B or 2A. On a team that struggled throwing the ball over the past couple of years in Xavier Worthy. What's your take on this, Ryan?
I am full agreement, because when I looked at Coach Ben going over there to Ben Johnson going to the Bears, I compared DJ Moore to your Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like he is the tough, and he absolutely, him and Amon-Ra are pretty much kind of the same receiver. Like they're not the biggest guys on the field, but they're the most physically taxing to get on the ground. Like neither of them go down easy.
Yeah.
I think Rome Odunze is kind of your JMO. He's going to be kind of your, one trick pony kind of speed. And then the rest of those receivers will kind of dot in wherever they can with the two tight end set with Komet and Colston Loveland out there as well.
Yeah. We're kind of different, not fans of Luther Burden. At least I'll speak for myself on this one. I think you kind of agreed with me on this.
Yeah.
A little bit of a head case. Mm-hmm. I think that's
a little bit of a worry. Bit of a worry with all the mouths to feed, and then getting the most malcontent of the wide receivers in this draft class as your rookie to bring in is kind of setting a tone of maybe a problem with Ben Johnson. Like Ben Johnson may have to be. He may be Ben Johnson's T.J. Hawkinson, where you draft him on the elite skills and he ends up being a culture mover. You have to move him for the culture of the team. Just got to get him out.
Yeah.
At best, I think Burden could be your wide receiver too. Kind of your Garrett Wilson. Great person to learn from if you're Burden. If you want to, a DJ Moore. Another highly emotional. Like maybe he can help him channel that.
Yeah. So anyways, in summary, Xavier Worthy, he's probably gonna be all right. Probably better. I would still take DJ Moore over him in best ball. I would probably take Worthy in dynasty. I still take DJ in best ball, although I will say it's much closer in best ball, because you're gonna get those deep shots from Xavier Worthy where he's just gonna have like Tyreek Hill, like 3 receptions for 108 yards and 2 touchdowns sort of games. He's probably going to have that again this year. So moving on, this or that, Deandre Swift or Kaleb Johnson. So with Deandre Swift, of course, we know Coach already doesn't like him. Coach already sent him out of town when he was playing for Detroit. Now he's playing for Chicago. And I think it's going to be the Roschon show. I really believe that. I've been drafting a lot of Roschon as well. He's kind of like a deep sleeper. I loved him out of Texas. He was kind of in line to have a good role last season, but had like a big preseason camp injury, something like that held him out early in the season. I think he started on PUP, started inactive, and kind of worked his way into kind of like a starting role or like a 1B role with the Bears late in the season. And I think worst case scenario, he's just going to get the David Montgomery role, because I think it's going to be a split backfield. So DeAndre Swift, you're drafting him as like a later like running back 1 on this team, and Kaleb Johnson, I believe, will be that number 1 on the team. Jaylen Warren is there. I get it. He's, maybe trusted or whatever. But if you can produce for the Iowa Hawkeyes offensively at any position, you are 100% guaranteed to be good in the NFL. And you'll never convince me otherwise. And that's what Kaleb Johnson did. He was good for Iowa, and now he's going to be in black and gold, and he's going to be unbelievable for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really believe that. He was one of my favorite prospects, kind of in the same neck of the woods as Omarion. He got drafted pretty high by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he's going to be a fine check down target for Raj. We know Raj ain't going to be running anywhere all over the field. I love Kaleb Johnson, and I think it's going to be probably evident from day one, but by week 6 of the NFL season, when Kaleb's fully integrated into this offense, it's going to be pretty silly, I think, that Deandre Swift is being drafted right next to him this time this year. Ryan Perrio?
I don't agree it'll be silly. I think it's close, closer than you admit. I think there's some redemption value in to say, who's the person that cut Deandre Swift? Was it Ben Johnson or was it the head coach? Was it the head coach that said, hey, we just don't like the fact that you're kind of huffing and puffing when you don't get touches? Maybe he learned his lesson. Maybe after bouncing around to 2 different teams and kind of, sniffing a little bit of, like, hey, maybe they were right. Maybe he is a little bit more compliant. I still think Kaleb Johnson, because in Pittsburgh, you got to be a bruiser. You've got a lot of things going on in Pittsburgh, and I think the only thing that's going to be consistent is this running attack. You got a 41-year-old quarterback. You traded one malcontent wide receiver for another malcontent wide receiver. A defensive back that has issues sometimes, either not doing the right thing on the play or, just being not where he's supposed to be, for another defensive back that can sometimes not be where he's supposed to be. Like, I think Pittsburgh basically made like 5 blockbuster moves to get like 2% better overall. Like, all that work to still be just in 3rd place, to be 9-8 again.
We'll see. I mean, maybe Raj wasn't able to do it in New York because it was the Jets. I think maybe that's what we'll see. I don't know. Tomlin can win with shitty quarterbacks. I mean, I think Raj is pretty good. We'll see. I mean, they got a tough battle to fight against Baltimore, especially if Lamar is going to be playing like that for the rest of his career or the near future. What is he like? He's like 26 and a half years old now, Lamar Jackson, like in the prime of his career now, probably. Pretty tough. But you got to try to win.
Yeah, you also got the Bengals in that division too, so it doesn't get any easier.
And Cleveland. Let's not. I mean, Deshaun Watson's supposed to be back by October, so don't count Cleveland out. All right, Mason Graham on the interior, Myles Garrett rushing the edge. Are you kidding me? Denzel Ward just locking fools down. Cleveland's all the way back. All right? And all is it going to take? We just got to get to October when our sweet prince, Deshaun Watson, comes back onto the football field.
and then
All right.